one follow-up question. The former president of Russia, Medvedev, said today that if Russia stops a special military operation without achieving victory, Russia will disappear. It will be torn to pieces. Is it the U.S. assessment, the Biden administration assessment, that if Russia loses, it's still viable for them to remain a country?
Of course. Of course. Russia has already endured a strategic failure in Ukraine. Nothing is going to change that. This has never been about Russia as a country, the Russian people as a people. This has always been about President Putin's determination to project force against another country in a completely unjustified way. You know, it's interesting that former President Medvedev called it a special military operation. I think were he to live in a country that respected alternative viewpoints, that allowed for civil discourse, that allowed for political space, that actually told the truth to his people, unlike what we're hearing from Mr. Medvedev himself, he would have called it a war, because it is a war. But again, this gets back to the point that Russia is a closed society. It is feeding its people a steady diet of lies, of disinformation, of misinformation, and this is clearly one of them.
But if the war ends, would the U.S. roll back sanctions to allow the country to come back a little bit more quickly?
Sanctions are a means to an end. Sanctions bring about a policy goal. In the first instance, the policy goal was to deter Russia from going, the threat of sanctions was to deter Russia from crossing the border and to invading its sovereign, independent neighbor. Now, the point of these sanctions is to impose costs and consequences on Russia for its brutal war. We would like to see this war end. We would like to see Ukraine resume its status as a country at peace, as a country that is whole, sovereign, independent, free, just as we would like to be in a position to eventually resume a relationship with the Russian people that in some ways resembled what it was prior to this aggression. This is not about the Russian people. This is not about any underlying animus towards the Russian state. This is about President Putin, his behavior, and the actions that those around him have enabled and encouraged.